So, hello everyone. Just want to be sure that you can hear me well, you can see me, everything is okay with the sound on your side. Please write down in the chat room that everything is good. All right, nice to know this. Good. Okay, guys. So, this is the second webinar, which is devoted for beginners and startups. And we're glad to be here with you. Thanks for joining us today. And I'm sure most of the things you will find quite interesting for yourself. And today we have gathered together to talk about important moments related to starting up data recovery business. And my name is Max. I'm Chief Commercial Officer at ACE Lab. I've been working with ACE for more than 7 years. And today I'll talk about sales and marketing promotion things, and I'll talk about criteria which should be taken into account before you make data recovery business. And today with us is Roman Morozov, who is the head of technical support. He has been working with ACE for more than 9 years. He has a really experienced guy who has also a co-author of NAND-based training courses. And today he will tell us some interesting technical things. Okay, so let me just make a brief overview of what we're going to talk. Which topic should be discussed? First of all, we will talk about the most important points and common mistakes. We will discuss what type of online resources should be reviewed before you make the right start. After that, we will talk about how to choose the appropriate area for data recovery and how to get the most suitable data recovery tools for your lab. Another thing, another story related to real-life cases. Roman will tell us how to proceed with diagnostic imaging and resin drives. He will show us some real cases related to the damaged heads and password protection drives. And another thing, we will talk about marketing, about promotion, how to find clients, how to make good revenue, how to become rich. And the last section is about Q&A section. You're welcome right now to share all of your questions in the chat room. And our ACE Lab assistant will collect all of these questions. And finally, me and Roman, we will answer them in the end of our meeting. Okay. So actually, we receive a lot of requests and a lot of requests related to the data recovery business. Hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. I want to start business. What should I do? What should be done? First of all, and over the years, we have helped such people. And as a result, we decided to collect all our experience in this area. We reworked it, restructured it in order to make your life a little easier. And we hope you can remember something and perhaps find something new for yourself. All right, so let's talk about the most important points and common mistakes. First of all, what you should do. The first thing is related to studying, analyzing your investments and calculating your business plan. But before doing this, you need thoroughly study your local data recovery market. It implies that you should clearly understand who are your competitors, what recovery technology they use in their laboratories, their level of technology proficiency, how often they are brought in, and what type of cases they get in data recovery labs. It's also possible that in future, maybe you will be able to outsource complicated cases to some of the local data recovery labs. I mean, maybe you will outsource to your competitors. And also today we will analyze the most common mistakes for data recovery startups, and we will try to discuss how to avoid all of these mistakes. Another thing is related to choosing the right direction for data recovery business. It's important to take into account the right vendor, the right data recovery tools, the right resources, and later on we will talk about this in details. And also, you should, before opening your business, before making appropriate investments, you should understand how many people will work in your data recovery lab. It will help you to estimate the number of workstations, the number of data recovery tools, type of data recovery kits you need at the beginning. And let's start with the first mistake. The first mistake is related to low cost and low quality tools. Most of the people who just at the beginning, they're thinking about saving money in order to reduce their risks and not to invest a lot for the first time. And I want to tell you one story. It's absolutely real story. It was one of our customers. And one day he decided to start data recovery business. And of course, he wanted to become successful in this area. But at the same time, he didn't want to spend a lot of money into his venture. So he decided to start with cheap solutions, such as Chinese tools and other software data recovery tools for logical recovery. And he spent his time studying all these technologies, and finally he realized that the success rate of recovered cases was lower than he expected before. Eventually, that guy came to a conclusion that he should have used more flexible and smart tools to recover data to make his customers happy, to make the higher revenue. But he realized that he already has spent a lot of time and his money on something not efficient. And finally, he lost his inspiration and enthusiasm. So what I'm talking about, that if you are serious about opening data recovery lab, professional data recovery lab, you should keep in mind that only professional tools will help you to become successful and to get significant revenue and to create reputation of highly skilled expert. It is very important. Another mistake is related to the dumping, reduction of the price. At the first glance, this decision might seem to be right, but such an action slows down the pace of your business development. I mean that when you get less income, you won't be able to invest in the new technologies. As a result, the whole data recovery market in your region will suffer from this action, and this is not good. Just keep in mind that if the data is very important for your client, he will be ready to spend a corresponding price for the restoration of his data. It also means that you should try to be focused on the solving audience. You should be oriented to the people who are ready to pay for the data recovery cases. Don't play with the auditory who will not pay you even $100 for the data recovery case. Another thing is related to the spoiling drives. We know a lot of stories when data recovery company gets HDD case, which has been already finally destroyed by another data recovery lab, which doesn't have experience, and finally the already damaged drive was finally destroyed. No one is happy in this situation, and the whole data recovery industry suffers from such activities. So, and before doing any serious data recovery task, we strongly recommend to play with make more practice with some of the used drive, which are not related to your clients. And after that, when you become more successful, more experienced, you are welcome to solve complicated cases. Don't play with your clients' storage media. And another thing, let's talk about how to choose the right direction at the very beginning. Because we have to keep in mind several criteria before choosing the right direction. So the first criteria is well-established history. And today there are many vendors who are ready to offer you data recovery solutions. However, when choosing the right vendor, you should pay attention to how many years the company has been on existence on the market. It helps you to understand what type of reputation of vendor, and it will help you to identify the level of responsibility of such vendor. But even if a company has been on the market for quite a long period, it doesn't mean that it is ready to provide you good customer service. Good customer service, customer support is another criteria, which is also important. Because customer support is crucial and it characterizes the attitude of the vendor towards you, towards your business, towards your clients. And another criteria is ability to upgrade your hardware and regular updates of your software. And it would seem to be that it's quite obvious point that every vendor provides this, but it's not true. Many existing solutions in the data recovery market have a rather chaotic approach and in the field of development, and because most of the vendors doesn't have their own roadmaps related to developing and creating products. And I know some of the vendors who produce thousands of hardware kits, hardware tools in one time without taking into account that new technologies might be appeared in 1 year, 2 years. So this is not good, and you should be able to upgrade your software and upgrade and hardware parts. The high success rate is also very important and depends on the 3 criteria mentioned above. And the right vendor affects how successfully you can solve cases and delight your clients. And ability to get overall technical support is another criteria. And when you have really complicated cases, you should be able to get in touch with highly professional engineers who would be able to help you remotely and to solve cases instead of you. So, unfortunately, right now, not every vendor can provide good technical support service. So, please aware of this fact. I know that most of you guys are already familiar with our company, and but I just want to make brief introduction who we are, how long are we staying on the market. As for the period, we've been working on the data recovery industry for more than 28 years, and we are leader in this field. And it allows us to supply our solutions for more than 120 countries of our products. And as for our ACE Lab team, we have the more 80 people. Most of these people are related to the scientifics, and they are scientists and mathematicians, because we are concentrated on the scientific-based approach, and most of our guys are from this area. And we have thousands of customers, and I'm sure you heard about this, and about this something. All right, so let's talk about steps which helps you to identify what should be done in your data recovery lab. First of all, you need to analyze, to Google some of the free online resources to understand what people thinking, what are their opinion, how do they feel with data recovery tools, what are they thinking about vendor services, and so on. Another thing that you need to understand which appropriate data recovery equipment should be used in your data recovery lab, and what type of equipment will help you to make diagnostic and solving problems efficiently. Another thing is related to the extra equipment. I'm talking about not only data recovery tools, but some of the specific tools and consumables. And today, later, Roman will tell us about this. And another last point for today, I will talk about it at the end, is finding clients, how to get profit, how to expand your services, how to expand your business. And okay, so right now let's start with exploring free online resources and choosing an area for data recovery. First of all, I would like to stay at our ACE Lab online resources, which are, most of them are free, provided for free. The first resource is blog. This blog is open for everyone, and it has 2 types of the articles. So the first type of the article is provided for everyone in read-only mode, while some of the articles are still in the restricted mode, and they're available only for PC 3000 users. Such type of articles contains a lot of life hacks, a lot of detailed steps, how to cook with specific data recovery case. And if you haven't had a chance to review at our blog, please don't hesitate to review it later. Another resource is our forum. A forum, it's a place for our users, and everyone can share his case, and people helping each other. Maybe you can have problematic case, you can provide details, and some other guys would be able to help you. It's like a community where PC 3000 users are capable to share their experience and to help each other. And another resource is our YouTube channel. It's rich of videos, video tutorials, which provides detailed step-by-step activities. And I strongly recommend you to review it later if you haven't reviewed it yet. And we have hundreds of the videos, and every time we add some new videos, so it's strongly recommended for reviewing. As for the external online resources, I highly recommend to review HDD Guru forums, but I'm sure that most of you guys already visited this forum, which contains plenty of resources, not only about PC3000, but some other data recovery tools, problems, and some other things. Another forum is Datamatics forum, provided by Jared Palmer, and it contains also very useful information, and where people can share their experience and provide some advices and questions, answers. And HDD Oracle, another good forum, and Recovery Force, a forum provided by Luke Coffey from Canada. This guy is making some new articles, and you should also review it. Plus, I'm sure you know that we have plenty of professional groups related to data recovery on Facebook, and there you will be able to find a lot of resources, a lot of opinion polls, and people are sharing their experience. They sharing what type of equipment is good, what type of equipment is not good. So you're welcome to visit to find all of these groups on Facebook. Okay, so let's talk about choosing your area of data recovery. You know, SATA and PATA HDD drives are still the most popular type of storage media, and looks like most of you guys are thinking about dealing with the recovering of SATA PATA drives. But, 10 years ago, data recovery companies were sure that the client would bring another hard disk drives based on the same interface, and it's okay, no problem. We know what will be brought tomorrow, day for tomorrow, it's okay. But, right now, no one else tell you that what type of storage media you will get today or maybe tomorrow. It might be SATA, PATA drives as well, but maybe it will be SSD drives based on SATA and NVMe PCIe interface drives. It can be SD cards, USB pen drives, mobile phones, Apple MacBook SSDs, or maybe even RAID configuration, storage media. You see, there are a lot of storage media, and you should try to play with all of these drives and to make your business profitable. So, and right now, let's talk about getting the data recovery equipment, and let's try to understand how to diagnose drive and recovery data. Right now, I'm going to pass my word to Roman, and he will take us a look. He will help us to understand all of the things, right?
Yes, thank you, Max. Thank you for your speech. And right now I'm going to tell about the technical part of our presentation. During our technical part, I'm just going to tell you a few words about the main idea of PC3000 technology, the main functions which PC3000 can do, and we are going to speak about the possibilities of our tools, which cases we can recover, what is the real number of cases that you can deal with the help of PC3000 technology, and so on. After my speech, I'm going to show you the real live case examples. So I prepare a couple of drives here. I have one tool here, one PC3000 tool, and I'm going to show you some real life cases right now during this presentation. I hope you will enjoy it. After that, we will start to speak with you about the question and answers from our side. So first of all, please let me share my screen with you. Here it is. So I hope that you can see my presentation pretty well right now. Okay. So Max, could you please confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much. And we are going forward. So you know that AceLab produce a lot of different tools like PC3000 UDMA, Express, Flash, SAS for different types of storage devices. But our new tool, our newest tool that we announce and release in this year in 2020 is PC3000 Portable Tree tool. This tool is the most universal tool which allows you to recover the largest number of different cases. And with the help of PC4000 Portable, you can recover almost all types of storage devices. You can recover classic hard disk drive. You can recover a classic solid state drives based on SATA port. You can recover data from NVMe SSD drives, and in future it will be possible to deal with SAS drives. But I'm going to tell about it just a little bit later. So, what are the main features of PC4000 Portable? As I said before, this tool allows you to work with the widest range of different storage types and storage devices. And of course, if you're just starting your data recovery business, it's very important to have a proper tool for every type of storage device. And of course, PC4000 Portable allows you to cover almost all common storage devices, classic storage devices, where you can find the useful user data, like flash drives in case if they contains a logic corruptions, like different types of solid state drives, including the MacBook solid state drives and including NVMe SSD. Of course, classic hard disk drive, different digital cards like compact flash cards, secure digital cards, and micro SD cards, and so on. In future, as I said before, we are going to add a new SAS support for portable tree systems, so it will be possible to use a special adapter to read the data from SAS drives, which are amazingly popular in server market, in digital video recorder tools, in different large computer configuration, which are using a lot of power for storing some information on it. So this type of drives will be also supported soon by the help of PC4000 Portable. And what are the main features of our new portable tree tool? First of all, of course, it's a compact size, because with the help of portable tool, you can take the tool with you and use it with your laptop, for example, and recover data on the go. And also, with the help of portable system, you can analyze the data without a host computer with the help of a special standalone mod that I'm going to demonstrate just a little bit later. Also, you know that PC4000 technology is pretty old. Our developers renew it, add new functions, add new features for last 25 years. And of course, you should understand that there are a lot of buttons, a lot of functions, so the interface of PC4000 might be not very user-friendly for beginners. But at the same time, if we talk about the beginners, we develop a special mod which called Easy Mod, which works pretty great for beginners and for forensic engineers who just start to work with solid-state drives and HDD and flash drives, and who don't have too much experience with the PC4000 software. And of course, the same functionality as Udemy and Express have, we can find in PC4000 Portable. So in case if you have a very complex case where you need to recover a lot of data, where you need to change the parts of the firmware, where you need to do some very complex operations with the drive, press a lot of buttons to recover the data, of course, full feature mode will help you to do that. And this full feature mode is almost the same as on Udemy and Express boards, so it allows you to recover not just simple cases, but also a very complex cases. Finally, we have a drive report. You know that portable tree system allows you to generate a report which will contain information about the drive condition. And sometimes it might be pretty useful when, for example, you are dealing with a hard disk drive and you researching this hard disk drive, and you can find that this hard disk drive is seriously damaged. So you have to buy a donor drive to swap some elements, some PCB, for example, or heads. And with the help of report, you can explain to your customer that the price for recovery will be higher than you thought before, because you have to swap the heads, you need to open the head disk assembling, you have to find the proper donor, you need to do all this job. That's why you have to charge not, let's say, $300, but let's say $700, because you have to do all these steps. So inside the report, all this information about the drive condition will be displayed for you. Another feature is that due to the usage of a new hardware platform inside the PC3000 Portable, it's become possible to work with NVMe drives which are based on PCI Express controllers. And usually you know that such devices as modern computers, they're using M.2 interface and M.2 drives. And these drives contains usually a PCI Express controllers, which are very fast, which approximately in 5-10 times faster than a classic SATA SSDs. So how you're going to work with them? With the help of PC3000 Portable, because right now it's the only tool in the market which allows you to work with such type of SSDs. And of course, such computers like Apple computers, like Apple MacBooks, like Apple desktop computers, which have a extended SSD, which is not soldered on the board, also use the technology of PCI Express. So with the help of PC3000, you can try to get it, and you can try to recover even such type of storage device. Finally, with the help of Portable, you can work with the USB drives, like a native USB hard disk drive, like USB flash sticks, like SD cards and micro SD cards with the help of special card reader adapter. This is very useful because sometimes instead of searching a donor to swap the PCB on the USB hard disk drive, you need to swap it for the SATA, or probably instead of drive disassembling, you can try just to plug your faulty USB device to PC3000 Portable and try to recover. In case if this drive is not completely dead, if it's partially working, recovery will be possible without spending too much time for preparation of this storage device. So now let me talk about a few things. Let me tell you a few things about the main problems that usually might appear when we are working with storage device. Usually we know that if our storage device works great, the physical part of this drive works normally, logical part of this drive works normally, so we can reach the data area at this storage media. What does it mean, physical part of the drive? To physical part of the drive, we can say that it's a part, internal part of the storage device, like memory chips, like PCB, like heads, like platters, like firmware, like internal microprogram, and so on. So in case if storage device contains some problems, it's become impossible to reach the logical access to user data, and it's impossible to extract the user information from the drive. And such typical problems like not detectable storage media in operating system or in BIOS, or damaged heads, or damaged firmware, or damaged PCB, or password protection by ATA command become a really annoying thing for data recovery engineers. And of course, if you're faced with this problem, you have to find the way how you can solve this problem to get access to next level of user information, to the logical access to your storage device. And for drive repairing, for drive internal failure fix, you have to use one of the PC3000 software hardware systems like UDMA, like Express, like SAS, and like Flash, and of course like PC3000 Portable that we are going to demonstrate during this presentation. Finally, when you get access to logical part, there might be another type of problems like logical corruptions, logical damages. What are the logical damages? It's damages which connected with deleted files, deleted folders, formatted partitions, encrypted partitions, damaged file system, erased information, unknown RAID configuration, and so on and so on. So there might be a lot of logically corruptions inside your storage media. And of course, if you want to recover it, you have to use a special add-on for PC3000 system, which called the data extractor. So with the help of data extractor, you can analyze the drive data area and try to fix it, try to analyze the partition, try to find the missed partitions, missed folder structure, missed file names, and reconstruct the partition in case if it's seriously damaged. Or, of course, you can use data extractor for other things like data decryption by BitLocker if your drive is damaged, or like detecting the unknown RAID configuration and RAID structure reconstruction, and some other important and interesting things that data extractor can provide for you. And right now it's a time for real-life cases, so I prepare here a few examples, a few cases, and I hope that you enjoy our demonstration. I've got a few cases here, and unfortunately for one of them, for the first one, I can't show you it in the real life. So I mean that I'm going to launch the video that we record previously. And this video contains information about the standalone mode for PC3000 Portable. Because we remember that when we just get this storage device, we need to analyze it and we need to understand what is the status of this drive. Does this drive is working good, or probably it's not working, or it's partially working. For PC3000 Portable, it's not a problem to detect the status of the storage device. Because even without a host computer, you can make some basic diagnostic to make sure the drive is fully working, partially working, or not working at all. So right now I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So probably right now you can see my face. And right now I'm going to share the screen one more time, but with video optimization. So I hope that right now you will see the video on my screen. And I'm going to launch it. And here it is. So we have two drives. So the first one is a Plextor SSD drive. And we are going to make a copy from this Plextor drive to a data SSD. And we prepare two drives. And of course, before we start the data analysis on this drive, we need to connect them to PC3000 Portable tool. After that, with the help of built-in buttons, we need to choose the diagnostic of the port 0 where the source device is connected. So the first thing that we should do, we need to try read the ID, the drive ID, because if drive can return ID to us, it means that this drive is not completely dead. Probably this drive contains some additional problems, but at least we can read the drive, and most likely that this drive will be detectable in BIOS operating system or in Windows operating system. So you will see the information on the screen. And we can read here information about model name, about serial number, and about capacity, how many gigabyte this drive contains. Okay, so we can read the drive ID. The next step is Smart View. What is the Smart? Actually, you know that almost all modern storage devices, large storage devices like SSD, like HDD, they contain a special self-monitoring system inside. And this self-monitoring system can tell us what is the drive condition, how many bad sectors this drive have, how many relocated sectors this drive have, how many hours this drive has been in use. And all this information is described inside the smart parameters. So we can scroll them, we can find these params and do the rest of things. Finally, to make sure that we have a full access to user data, we can try to read the sector in hex editor. So it's pretty convenient to see the content which is located on the drive. For example, right now with the buttons, I'm just trying to read some random LBA and jump over the surface on this connected SSD drive. And you can see that we can watch into the different LBAs, we can read the content, so we might be sure right now that this drive provides a full access to user data, and this drive is not fully damaged. Probably it contains some bad sectors, but anyway, looks it's not so bad. The final thing that we are going to do right now is a read test with the help of hash sum calculation. For forensic purpose, for forensic cases, it's very important to know that nobody didn't change the initial state of the data which is located on the hard disk drive or on storage media. That's why we can try to calculate the hash sum and use this hash sum to protect this drive from any data changing. Of course, if it's very important for forensic purpose. In our example, we have a few different types of hash sum calculation and their combination. And right now I'm going to choose MD5 hash calculation. So let's see what we will get here. We start the scanning procedure. And when the reading of the surface will become over, we will see the hash sum checksum that we can copy and use later. The most interesting thing is that this drive doesn't contain any bad sectors, so we don't see any errors, we don't see any messages, any red lines. It means that this drive works pretty good. And if this drive works pretty good, we can try to make a sector-by-sector copy from one drive to another drive. That's why right now I'm going to launch the copy process. And right now I'm going to use port 0 as a source port and port number 1 as a target port to where I'm going to make a data imaging. And you can see that portable tool send the power supply, pass the initialization on the both of drives, and right now we can start the copying procedure. You can see that this is a pretty high speed of copy because both drives contains SSD controller inside, and of course SSD is a pretty fast storage device. That's why we can reach the speed of copy around 500 megabytes per second, and we can do the copy on the fly from one drive to another. If we're talking about a classic hard disk drive, of course, the speed of classic hard disk drive will be much more smaller, around maybe 200, 230 megabytes per second. So we have to spend more time on copying process. And we can see that copy is finished and portable system switch off the power supply on it. And we get a full image on the drive that we connect to port number 1. So we can use it, we can analyze it, and we can restore the information from it. Another important thing is that PC3000 Portable contains a special hardware protection. And if, for example, we will try to erase or change the information on the source device, and we will do it accidentally by mistake, we can try to activate the hardware write protection button and disable all writing operations on the connected port 0 connected drive. So you can see that I activate write protection, and if I will try to erase the information, I've got just an errors because all protections is working and all sectors are protected from changings. And this feature might be useful when you're working with a suspect drive or with your customer drive, where it's very important to keep the original stage of the drive. This is about the PC3000 Portable standalone mode. And right now, let me stop sharing my screen. I'm going to change the quality of the sharing content. And I'm going to choose the optimization for text and images. So right now, I think that you will see it a little bit better in better resolution and better quality. My next case that I want to show you will be connected with Easy Mode, the mode which is pretty good for beginners and pretty good for those customers who don't familiar with the PC3000 interface, who just starting to work with PC3000 tool. And this Easy Mode allows you to simply analyze the hard disk drive, find what's wrong inside this drive, and finally start to copy data with bypassing of the problems which arise on this storage device. And of course, for using this Easy Mode, we are going to use a USB connection of portable to my laptop, so I already connected. And we need to launch a shortcut which called Easy Mode for PC3000 Portable tool. I'm going to start it. I'm going to select the port 0 and SATA hard disk drive that I already connect. And let's see the interface of easy mode. So here you can see that there are not so many buttons. There are only just a few options that we can use, and it's pretty convenient for those who don't have too much experience with full feature mode inside PC3000. And the first thing that we need to do, we need to analyze the drive, because it's very dangerous to make a full drive copy. Let's imagine that our drive contains 1, 2, or 3 heads which are not working correctly. And if you will try to make a full sector by sector imaging, you might face with the problem when damaged head will start to scratch the platter, and in this case, unfortunately, recovery will be impossible for you, and it will be very important to keep this drive stay alive. That's why we have to do a smart copying without bad sectors, without bad heads, and without influence of bad heads inside this HDD. So let's try to find out how this drive will be initialized. So for doing that, we need to launch Automatical Checkup. When I start the button Automatical Checkup, I need to start the procedure of drive scanning, and our software will try to check the power supply, power consumption, different voltages which goes to the hard disk drive. We get a feedback from the hard disk drive to portable so we can read the information, and we will try to reach some LBA here to see do we have access to user data. And our software trying to read the ID, trying to read the smart parameters, and reach access to user data. But as you can see, unfortunately, there is no data available for reading because this drive is security locked. What does it mean? It means that someone put the password protection on this hard disk drive. How is it possible? Very simply, most of the specific tools like digital video recorders, like different servers, like different NAS configuration, they might have a password protection on hard disk drive or on SSD drive. This password protection allows to keep the drive be protected from intruding and from, let's say, unsafety hardware changes, hardware configuration changes. Manufacturers just don't want allows you to change the hard disk drive by yourself. If you want to change the hard disk drive into digital video recorder, no problem. You can go to official service center and change the hard disk drive there. But what to do if the drive becomes damaged and this drive contains a password protection? The same problem appear here, so we can try to unlock this password protection. I want to say that it's not a BitLocker protection, it's not a FileVault or TrueCrypt protection, it's a ATA password protection, the hardware password protection. And right now, let's check what we can do in this case. And for drive unlocking, we just need to press a button unlock, because PC3000 will try to switch the drive into technological mode, read information about the keys, and open the drive. We have an option. We can remove the password or we can just open it. If it's prohibited to change the initial state of the drive, we can just open it without the password removing. So after a power switch, power off, power on, the drive goes into original stage while it was locked by the password. We're going to select it and drive become unlocked. So let's try to check the drive configuration after we unlock it. So probably right now it will be possible to reach the data on this hard disk drive. And our software going to check everything, going to check the heads condition, technological mode parameters, utility information, and show us different graphics, different information about our drive. For example, here in this option, you can see information about the drive status, about the drive internal structure. For example, we can read information about the number of heads in this drive. We get 6 heads here. We can read information about a ROM version, about PCB version, about service area firmware version. All information will be shown for us right here in this window. And of course, if we want to analyze the password protection and if we want to use this password, we can read this password right here. So it's going to be written inside the log in PC3000 utility selection. So we can try to read it. Other options also show us different graphics about the voltage consumptions, about the power consumption. It shows us information about the PCB test, about the drive ID, smart parameters, user data, and so on. And right now, our software is trying to check the heads, because you know that hard disk drive, they have a very complex internal structure, and it's very important to know do we have a healthy heads or some of the heads are damaged. So we're trying to analyze head by head and find some information about the head status. And here we can see that from 6 heads, we are able to read head number 0 without any problem, head number 1 without any problem, while the head number 2 is not reading the surface, and instead of reading the LBA, we get just an errors. Head number 3 is okay, but head number 2 looks like is the main reason why this drive is not working correctly, why this drive is faulty drive. So let's wait till the end. We need to see what do we have after the heads checking. And here it is. So from 6 heads, 5 heads are in a good condition, while the head number 2 is pretty bad. What we can do right now, we can try to make a sector by sector copy, but we are going to use not all heads. We are going to use only healthy heads, while the damaged heads will be switched off, and it will be possible to reach all data on the whole drive by healthy heads. Let me try to do that. So I will try to explain you more things about it, how we can do it. Let's start the imaging data. Let's start a copy data. And let's make a new task. But of course, before we are going to do that, we need to prepare the drive to where we will make a copy. And I have such drive which is connected to SATA 1. I'm going to start the power supply on it. So I connect the Toshiba 3 terabyte hard disk drive, and I'm going to use it to make a full copy from port number 0 to port number 1 by healthy heads. After that, let's make a copy. So let's make a new task inside the data extractor. And after that, we need to form a map. We need to build the heads map. For doing that, we need to press at the button Build Heads Map. Here it is. So what is the head map? Actually, head map allows you to understand where all areas located on the hard disk drive and which areas belongs to which head, because we are going to use only healthy heads to make a copy of user data, and we are going to ignore the damaged head. It's very important, because if you will try to read the data from damaged head, you can scratch the platter, you can completely kill your drive, and it's not very safety. But if you will try to, let's say, find a donor drive to swap the heads, it will be much more easy for you to find the drive where just 2 heads compatible, head number 0, which allows you to load the firmware, and our damaged head number 2, instead of searching for the drive with the same heads map, with the same number of heads, with the same capacity, and so on. So it will be much more easy for you to find the donor drive after all these preparations, and most of the data will be already copied. After a head swap, you will need to make a copy only from the faulty head number 2, instead of making the full copy from the whole drive. Okay, and of course, the speed of heads map building depends on drive capacity. More capacity means that drive contains more heads, and we need to form the map for a longer time. So, in the right part of the screen, you can see the heads. head number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right now we need to disable the damaged head. How we need to know what is the head, which head is damaged? We need to return back into automatical checkup and look into the heads checking. So head number 2 is corrupted. We are going to exclude it from the copying process. After that, we can start the copy process by healthy heads. You can see that head number 2 is not take a part into a copying process, and we are doing a copy from head number 0, 1, 3, 4, and 5 instead of trying to make a very slow and nasty copy from head number 2. And of course, even if you have a damaged head, you can try to find a good settings in data extractor, which can help you to very slowly but still read information from head number 2, because we can play with different timings, we can play with different retrieve options, and sometimes if, for example, we have not a completely dead head but a very weak head which is read a lot of bad sectors, we can play with the settings, we can start to read the data very slowly, and after that it will be possible to make a copy from this drive even by damaged head, so it's pretty good. And again, even if you not using the whole heads map, sometimes it's still possible even to get a folder structure, even to get a partial result, which is pretty good for some cases when customer want to recover just one folder. He don't want to make a copy of all drive, he just probably need one file or one folder or a couple of folders, but not the whole copy of the drive. And even if one or more heads are not working, you can try to build a head map for this file, you can try to read some parts of the data from it, and after that it will be possible to recover even the file which was located by a damaged head, like here. So we get some weapon instruction here, some graph, some information, so it's working even if the drive is partially damaged and even if head number 2 corrupted. Okay, so when we did a full copy by healthy heads, when we call to our customer and when we tell him that we get the result, but unfortunately result will not be complete because we need to buy a donor drive and we need to swap the heads. You need to explain to your customer that the head number 2, for example, is damaged. How you can do that? You can generate a report, a special report, using the report button. This report button will include information about all necessary things like controller that you are using, PC4000 Portable, software version that you are using, the suspect drive that you are analyzing right now, and some other information like power consumption, like access to ID, like technological mode access, like information about password protection, and of course there would be information about the heads quality, because here you can see that head 0 is perfect condition, head number 1 also in a good condition, while head number 2 is not reading the surface, and most likely that this head is the weak head and it's dead. The rest of heads are also pretty good. Finally, we can see how many good sectors did we copy before and how many sectors we didn't read. If there would be a bad sectors, the calculation, the number of these bad sectors will be also presented in this PDF file. So, in my opinion, it's very useful thing for data recovery engineers, because again, you can analyze it, you can provide some partial result, but if your customer want to get more data and you have to spend more time on this drive, and you need to explain to your customer that you need to charge more money for this job, you can print this PDF file and show it to him, or probably send it by email so he can see that this drive is really damaged and this drive really contains some problem with heads, which requires a donor purchasing. Okay, so this is about the PC4000 Easy Mode. You can see that it's pretty easy to use, the Easy Mode, yeah. So I think that most of the customers who start to work with the PC3000 tool will be able to analyze the drive and recover some data, even if it's available only partially. Also, you should understand that we just released PC4000 Portable. It's on the market less than 1 year, and our developers still add a lot of new functions inside the PC4000 full feature mode, inside the easy mode, inside the standalone mode, and of course we are going to improve the functionality of these mods. One of the features that we probably will add in the future is a special option which will help you to put your company logo here and into the PDF file, so you can put the logo inside the PC3000 Portable settings and add probably some other information about the drive condition. We are still open for good ideas, and if you think that it's important to add something extra, yes, some extra information, we can do that. So just send us email and we can discuss about it. So if it's really important for your company, we will do that, because for our engineers, it's not a big deal to add such features like your own logo, like some extra parameters about the drive, like some extra information. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to show you will be connected with USB drive. So I think that all of you meet the situation when the storage drive is not working. So actually here I've got a small USB flash stick. It's just an 8 GB flash stick, and I'm trying to connect it to my computer. So let's see, will the Windows operating system will see it. And when I connect it, you can see that this drive becomes detectable, but Windows asks about formatting, because unfortunately this drive contains some logical corruptions and this drive is not working properly. What we can do in this case? First of all, of course, we need to disconnect this drive from PC3000, from our laptop. Let me do that. And after that, we need to connect the PC, the USB flash drive to our PC3000 port, into USB host port and PC4000 Portable tree. The main idea is that you can do the same things with native USB hard disk drive, with micro SD cards, with some other type of storage devices which have USB interfaces. So all these things will be available for you. And right now, let me show you the demonstration how we can deal with this flash drive. I already connect this flash drive to PC3000 Portable host port, and right now let's launch the red icon full feature mode. So let's see what we can do here. Of course, we need to select the main port, it's USB port here, and we are going to use it. After that, we need to make sure that this drive is not completely dead, that firmware is working, that controller is not completely dead. And for doing that, we will try to read the drive ID. And for reading the drive ID, let's make a power supply on the drive, and let's start the universal USB utility. So we will see, do we have a passport information inside or not. And here it is. We can see that this drive returned to us full passport ID. We can read the serial number of this drive, the name of manufacturer, and capacity, of course. If I will try to read some sectors, like, I don't know, some random sector, I can see that this sector is readable, so we can switch between different sectors, we can read the LBA area, and everything looks fine. So let's try to make a new task in data extractor and see, do we have access to files, or this flash drive contains some extra problem. And I'm going to start the data extractor software, make a new task, which is going to be based on PC3000 USB bus. And right now I'm going to complete the task creation. So it's not so complex. we get access to USB stick. Now let's expand the partition. Do we have access to folder structure? And as soon as I'm trying to do that, I've got a message that the table of partition is empty, and would you like to execute quick disk analysis? We should press yes. And of course, data extractors support a wide list of the different file systems which are available right now in the market, and we support almost all of them. So let's try to find some signature of one of these file systems inside connected USB flash stick. So we're starting the procedure of flash drive partition and file system searching, and after a few seconds we've got a missed partition. Here it is. So we can see it, we can even open some documents from this partition. So it looks like it's not so bad, it's really working. And how we can apply this partition, how we can use the result that I can see here. We shouldn't do any special things, just exit from the quick disk analysis mode. And after that, as soon as I will try to expand partition one more time, I will see a complete root structure with files, with folders, with all information inside. In case if we want to get some extra information, like for example, we want to get information about deleted files, about deleted folders, we can try to launch disk analysis and use a row recovery. It's some kind of a file carving by file headers. So we will be able to find some extra file headers and use them to save some more files from this drive. And again, inside this row carving, we can find information about the files metadata, the date of creation, the resolution, the format of this picture, and so on. So this information might be used for us for some extra file saving. Finally, we can try to save the whole structure into our computer, into folder structure of our computer. So we can select save mark in the whole task and save it on our computer. Or we can try to use another options like data export into another drive. So we are going to make sector by sector copy, or we can do export into binary file for further analysis, or we can do an export into forensic format, which is pretty good for those who deal with forensic cases, who is dealing with criminal cases, and so on. So we support a few forensic formats, and you can use one of them to analyze the image of this flash drive with the third-party tools, which can help you to get information about files by keywords, by special passphrase, and so on. So also might be pretty useful for evidence recovery. This is about the USB case where we have a USB stick with logical corruption that we can easily recover with the help of PC3000 portable USB host port. Okay. So my next example will be connected with the SSD drive. And you know that solid-state drives become more and more popular. There are two ways how we can work with SSD drives. We can work with logically damaged SSD drives via the PC3000 portable, where we have the problem with file system, with deleted files, with empty folders, with corruptions in sectors, in some areas of the SSD with bad sectors, and so on. Or in case if our SSD contains a physical problems connected with firmware, we can try to use ASLAB technological mode to reach the access to user data in low-level format and get a full access to user information which is located on the SSD. So in my example, I'm going to recover data from ADATA SU800 SSD drive. So of course we have to connect this drive to PC3000 portable tool to see how this drive will works if we will just connect it to our system. So I plug it. And now let's launch PC3000 portable tool and let's start it. So what we can see here, we can see the list of supported vendors for solid-state drives. But before we will choose the correct vendor, which is ADATA, we are going to check this drive into universal utility. So I start the power supply and I am looking into the ATA registers, which tell us the condition of this drive. If drive goes in a ready state where the DRD and DSC registers are lit on, it means that this drive works good and it's ready to get the commands. But the problem of this drive is that as soon as I'm trying to read this drive ID or I'm trying to read the user data, I've got a busy state. So drive goes into busy, it goes into the loop of drive reinitialization, and unfortunately, this drive is damaged. It's not possible to recover data from it right now. If I will try to open the utility, I can see that ID of this drive has not been read, and most likely that this drive will not appear in BIOS operating system, in Windows operating system, because this drive condition is pretty weak, pretty bad. What we can do in this case, if drive is not working, we can try to launch a special utility for this drive. We remember that this drive belongs to ADATA company, that's why we select the ADATA utility. Then we need to select the Silicon Motion utility, which belongs to SM controllers. And actually this drive is based on SM controller, and I'm going to select it. Drive stays in busy, it remains to be in a busy state and unfortunately not ready for working process, even if we launch a special utility for this drive. But we can try to select a correct controller, a correct model family, and wait for a loader uploading. What is the loader? Actually, loader is a part of microprogram which we can upload into drive RAM and initialize the SSD drive in case if this SSD is not working correctly. If it's show a lot of errors, so probably doesn't provide us access to user data, like in this case. So we have two loaders, and the target loader, the correct loader, is already highlighted. So let's try to do that. And of course, we get a message, we get some picture which show us the information about the shorting points. Why SSD drive goes into a busy state? Because unfortunately the NAND memory chips contains a lot of bad sectors on it and original firmware become damaged. So drive goes into the loop of firmware uploading, error, firmware uploading, error, firmware uploading, and error. That's why we have to interrupt this cycle. And for doing that, I'm going to use tweezers, and I'm going to follow the picture inside our utility to short the drive into the safe mode. So I'm going to plug the tweezers inside. I'm going to short the safe mode points. And after that, I'm trying to upload the loader. And you can see that passport ID appears. Drive becomes switched into technological mode, so it operates via the extended ASLAB loader, extended firmware. And right now we can try to reach the access to user data. And of course, we can read information about the number of memory chips here, about the memory chip IDs, about the parameters of this chip. All this information will be included inside the log. So very interesting to research what type of the vendor of the memory chip we have, what is the memory chip ID, what the memory chip capacity, and so on. Our next step will be a task creation in data extractor, because we already fixed physical part of drive, so we have to get access to logical part of the drive inside the folder structure, inside the data extractor. That's why I'm going to jump into data extractor and make a new task, which is going to be based on our PC3000 utility. So I select it. I am moving forward. And let's take a look inside what do we have here. In the background, our software trying to build the translator and upload this translator into drive RAM. And this process requires some time. Of course, it depends on the drive condition, on the number of bed sectors inside the NAND memory chips, and it depends on the drive capacity. So sometimes we need to wait 5 minutes, sometimes we need to wait just a couple of seconds, but in the end, translator will be built so we will be able to use it. So our utility trying to initialize this drive to upload the important parts of the microprogram. And finally, we get a message that translator become built. Of course, some parts of the microprogram are damaged. That's why we get these messages about the failure of reading the firmware blocks, but still possible to reach the data. After that, you can see that folder structure will be available. We can open some files, some folders here, and we can reach the data which is located on this SSD drive. So again, we can try to make a full copy of the all folders and files, or we can try to export the image into another drive, make a sector by sector copy. We can try to export file into binary format, or we can try to export it into forensic format. So options are available for us for data creation. And of course, all data is available right now, but if we will try to reconnect the power supply on this drive, it will go into original state when this drive was not working. This is the main idea of our approach. We don't modify the firmware of this drive. We're just working with a RAM chip, so it's absolutely safety for SSD drive be under our PC3000 utility. So actually, the last example that I'm going to show you will be connected with our latest research about the NVMe SSD drives. You know that NVMe technology is using in M.2 drives. M2 drives, it's some kind of sticks. Yeah, so I have one here, and I'm going to demonstrate it to you. So our developers already add some interesting features inside the future update that is going to appear soon. And this update will help us to recover NVMe drives based on Marvell technology. NVMe drives look like this one. So it's just a small stick with the M.2 slot connector right here. And this is actually HP drive, but in my demonstration, I will show you the latest development in Plextor technology, where the controller is not Silicon Motion right here, but a Marvell. So let's take a look into our video demonstration. I'm going to share the screen one more time. And now here is the Plextor demonstration. Again, it's our new technology, it's our new utility for Marvell drive. And I can say that Marvell-based SSD drives, they are amazingly complex. They required a lot of time for firmware research, for technological mod research, but our developers do their best to add more and more SSD drives into PC3000 support list. So you can see that this drive is Marvell 88SS1093 family, and we are going to use one of our NVMe adapters, which help to work with PCI Express drive. Of course, we need to fix the SSD inside the adapter, and after that, we will try to connect it to port 0. So we did it. After that, let's launch the power supply on this drive, and let's take a look at this drive into universal utility. Do we have any passport ID or any information inside the drive? Let's take a look. So we can see that unfortunately passport ID is not reading. We don't see any information here, and drive could not be initialized right now. So what we are going to do, if we can't read data via the universal utility, we can launch a special utility for Plextor drives based on Marvell controller. And right now I am building the new task inside the utility. And to make possible work with Marvell drives, we have to upload the firmware not via the standard interface, but through the terminal. And that's why our utility will tell you how exactly you need to connect the terminal connection, the COM port connection, to bypass all problems connected with data transferring in this drive. So as you can see, I soldered 2 wires, and I going to connect these wires to the terminal port, terminal 3, which is very useful when we are working with modern Seagate drives and with modern SSD. I'm going to set 1.8 jumper. Then I'm going to connect the terminal connection. And after that, we are ready to start the drive initialization. Of course, the PC3000 utility will tell you the further steps, what you need to do, like short the safe mode points. And we are going to short it and start the loader uploading. You can see that in this case, it's impossible to use the default interface, default M.2 interface, to upload the firmware. But it's possible to upload the firmware in drive RAM via the terminal, via the COM port terminal. And here you can see that drive become initialized, so we can try to read the memory chip IDs to make sure that we have communication between controller and PC3000. And after that, we are ready to start the translator regeneration, the firmware translator regeneration. This process will take some time. Again, we have to make a resources backup. It's pretty useful for all storage devices. And then we are going to rebuild the firmware inside the SSD. And of course, after that, we will upload the good firmware, the good translator, into SSD RAM chip. It will take a while, so let's wait a bit. And when translator is done, when we complete the translator rebuild, we can go to the data extractor again and do the same things as we did before. So we make a new task, we go to the PC3000 utility as a source. We are going to work through PC3000 software, not directly with the drive. And after that, we can try to reach access to user data. And again, I want to say that this Marvell-based SSD drive is very complex. And our engineers spent a really lot of time to make possible work with Marvell-based NVMe. This is a very tough job, and of course we have to spend a lot of time to add more and more NVMe drives based on this controller. But again, as I said before, our developers are going to continue release updates where you can find more and more solid-state drives based on SATA technology for UDMA Express and portable, and based on PCI Express technology for portable 3 system only. This is how we can work with the NVMe drives. So, looks like I have to share my screen one more time with text and images optimization. And let's go ahead with our presentation. So, of course, you should know that PC3000 technology is very powerful, but it requires some additional knowledge, some time for research, for education, and our company is ready to provide such services for you. First of all, of course, we have a pretty good technical support department where our engineers are ready to help you 14 hours per day, daily, and we always ready to help you with the real case recovery via the remote control. We provide some trainings, offline training, online training right now, and we release updates for our software because it's very important to keep your software be updated. With the updated software, you will be able to solve the latest cases, the most complex cases with the largest problems and with the most complex issues which arise on your storage media. Of course, our technical support engineers are well experienced, so if you have any questions, if you have real cases, the only thing that you have to do, just plug your hard disk drive to your computer or SSD or flash drive, launch the remote control system, AnyDesk or TeamViewer, and ask our engineers to help you. Usually we are connecting to your computer within 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, depends on the loading in technical support department. But within 24 hours, we will help you and we will help you to recover your case by our hands. And of course, important thing about the training, you know that due to the COVID situation in the world, it's not possible to provide the trainings, offline trainings in our partner labs. We provide trainings, offline trainings in Czech Republic, in Prague, in USA, in Myrtle Beach, in South Korea, in Japan, in Germany, in Singapore, in France, and in Canada, of course. But right now, if you can't visit our training, if you have a lockdown in your country, no problem, because you can try to reach our online training courses. We provide 3 main online courses for flash topic, for HDD topic, and for RAID topic. These seminars are basic. They include only basic information how to start work with PC3000 technology, how to recover data from basic cases, but I can say that this information will be more than enough for you to start use PC3000 technology. And these trainings usually takes just 1 day, just a couple of hours. So in my opinion, it will be very convenient for you to stay online with us and take a part in our online training courses. By the way, I would like to say that inside our online training, we provide a working place, we provide a remote control to our computers. All our computers contains real cases that are connected to PCs, and during the online training you can try to recover data by yourself, even if you don't have PC3000 equipment. So if you don't have PC3000 equipment but you are planning to buy it, it's a good idea to invest some money into online training to teach how to work with PC3000, how to start work with our technologies and our tools. Every year we are doing some conferences and events, mostly in Prague, but sometimes we even go into the USA. And last time when we were there was 2018. We provide a pretty good conference in Las Vegas. It was pretty fun. So we get a lot of customers from USA, from Canada, from North and South America. And this conference was pretty great. So it was a good opportunity for data recovery engineers to meet each other, to share some experience, to talk with each other and make some network between them. But you know that due to the situation in the world in this year, it was not possible to make such conference, but we make a large online conference in YouTube. So our customers who have PC3000 or just planning to buy PC3000 were able to attend this conference, and I hope that they really enjoy the information that our engineers and our developers share with the customers. And of course, it's very important to remember that if you are going to open your data recovery lab, only with PC3000 technology you can get the largest recovery rate in your daily practice. But you shouldn't forget that when you are going to open your data recovery lab, you should care about the lab equipment, because sometimes it's not enough just to bought PC3000, because you will have to use some extra materials, some extra tools which will help you to deal with different storage media devices. And you shouldn't forget that you will have to use some essential tools like microscopes, like multimeters, like different type of screwdrivers, like filters on the air flow to protect the hard disk drive of the dust, different heating station, and so on. All these tools you have to equip and you have to buy for your lab, because soon or later you will need them to work with damaged storage media. Of course, there might be some consumables, some materials that you will need to use, like wires, like special ear sticks, like flux, like solder iron, like rubber, like donor PCB, donor heads, donor parts, and so on. All these things also will required for your lab if you want to do a professional, a very good quality data recovery business. And for some specific cases, when you are going to reach some kind of a high level of recovery skill, you will need to equip your lab with a very specific equipment like laminar box, which clean the air inside and which allows you to disassemble the head disk assemble. You will need to buy a special parts which will help you to remove the heads from the platters. You will need to buy some ultrasonic bath for platters cleaning, some special alcohol, some special spirit, which will help you to clean the platters if someone already tried to fix the drive, open head disk assemble, and put some fingerprinters on it. So all this equipment will be necessary for you if you are going to make a really good equipped lab. In our blog, Irina will share the links with you. In our blog, we have all necessary articles about it, so you can read it, you can find all necessary tools, and you will understand for which cases, which tool you will require. So thank you very much for your attention, and right now it's a part of Maxim, and I'm going to give him a word, so let me stop sharing my screen. Max, are you ready?
Thank you. Yes, I'm ready, fully ready.
Okay, so I'm going to make you a presenter, so please check it right now.
Yes.
You should be the boss right now.
Yes, I'm the boss. That's cool. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So today we talked about different things, some of the commercial things, some of the technician things, and I'm sure that you find it pretty useful. And right now I would like to stay the point how to get clients, how to make profit, how to expand your business. And that's why I'm going to talk about all of this. So once you decide to, once you feel comfortable and quite experienced, guys, and you feel free with solving data recovery case, you can start to outsource some of the, you can, how to say, you can provide outsourcing services for some other startups. And at the same time, when you have some difficult cases, don't be afraid, don't hesitate to provide difficult cases to some other data recovery laboratories. I'm talking about such cases like related to some physical things like spindle issues, head swap issues. Maybe then it's required to change the plates, and but you can do this yourself. So feel free to outsource such cases to someone else who might be responsible, who might be able to do this. But of course, please keep in mind that before doing such outsourcing thing, ask your client's approval, because if you don't have customers' approval, you might have some troubles. And we know a couple of stories when the clients were really furious about outsourcing the storage media to some other data recovery laboratories. So please be aware of this. Okay, and next thing that how you can develop your business. You can expand your territorial presence and create more local pickup points, organize the pickup locations, pickup services, and on-site services. Actually, during the pandemic period, such type of approach showed itself pretty efficient. And I know some of the guys in Canada and the United States who provide pickup services, and it works very efficient. They have plenty of data recovery requests, and this is good. And as for the on-site services, this is also possible. I know a couple of the guys who have their own wagons, and the car is equipped with it's like mobile laboratory, and it's equipped with everything necessary for the on-site recovery. Like Roman demonstrated today, this is retardant portable device is pretty convenient for such type of service. So another thing is the extension of data recovery services to some other areas. In a couple of slides, I will tell in details what I'm talking about. Another thing is the marketing to boost your business. Marketing is actually a pretty wide area, and today also I'm going to talk about the main crucial moments related to the marketing. So as for the extension of your data recovery services to some other areas, you can start to think not only about HDD recovery, but SSD data recovery as well. It's becoming popular. I'm sure you know about this. As for the flash data recovery, such type of cases are not so expensive. I mean that you won't be able to charge as well as for the SSD, for RAID, or for HDD, but it also works normal. And some of the guys, sometimes of your clients who lost the sensitive data, they would be ready to pay a lot of money for this, but not as much for the hard drives or RAID. And as for the RAID, it's actually another story. Once you start to be professional with RAID recovery, your data recovery lab will become even more prosperous, because you can charge a lot of money for such type of cases, starting from 5,000 US dollars to up to 25,000. It's absolutely normal, because usually such type of storage media is used on the big enterprises, banks, financial institutes, and usually such people, such companies are ready to pay enough money to make the data restored. And another thing from the how to extend data recovery services is to be related, to stay closer to the forensic data recovery. Right now, what we're seeing right now, data recovery and digital forensics industries are getting closer to each other. Maybe because over the last years, most of the storage media, when they're getting damaged, but at the same time, the digital evidence should be extracted, should be analyzed, and this is good. Actually, the data recovery is staying closer to the digital forensics area, and don't be afraid to be involved in some of the digital forensics activities. It will be pretty profitable for you to stay in this area, and you can charge not only per case. You can charge usually when you deal with forensics, you can charge by hour. Yeah, so it's another story, and this story is good actually. All right, so let's talk about marketing strategies. Actually, marketing strategies we talk about both online, offline marketing. And first of all, I would like to talk about online marketing, because it's essential part of your promotion. And such type of marketing clearly demonstrated its effect during the pandemic period. Some of the companies who were previously actively promoting the data recovery services in the internet, they felt extremely good during the quarantine period, and the workload was significantly increased. Maybe it was related to the fact that people started to actively use their personal computers, staying at home, while some of the storage media started to get damaged. I don't know, maybe people took time to remember that some of the drives has to be fixed. But the fact that those of the companies who were concentrated on the online, they felt extremely well during the quarantine period. So let's briefly talk about the main components related to the online marketing. First of all, this is website. From the first glance, it seems to be pretty obvious point, but I don't know. But most of the companies, data recovery labs, they don't have appropriate data recovery websites, and they don't provide clear description what they're doing, who they are, and it's important. It's important to understand that a website is pretty expensive. When you need to build your website, you need to make some investments. But there are some alternatives when you can use some of the aggregators, special constructors, special builders, when you can build the websites yourself and not spending a lot of money on this point, on the thing. Another moment is the good content for your website and search engine optimization. And because good and unique content will help you to get good indexing in Google search. And also you will be able to play with search engine optimization to increase your Google rank. So also please keep in mind when you're making online activities. Another point is the blog, because a blog should contain interesting articles for your clients. It might be some articles related to the comparison with the drives, between the drives, what type of drive is better for storing sensitive data, what you should do when that is lost. Actually, everything depends on the level of your fantasy. I'm not going to talk about pretty obvious things, but when you are thinking about this, you are ranked on the Google search. Another thing is the social media. Right now, as you can see, this, we have plenty of social media channels starting from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And it doesn't mean that you should pay attention to all of these social media channels. Just try to play with some of the channels and see what's going on. Because I'm sure that you will see the effects in the nearest month. And after that, you will decide what social media channel is more efficient for you. Another story is advertising, because advertising can be related to some of their online magazines review, or maybe bloggers review. Maybe if you can boost your post, articles from your blog, maybe sponsored stories, updates, maybe some set stories. Sometimes it works actually. And another thing, the reviews, because reviews, I'm sure, I strongly believe that reviews is one of the strongest moment to stay closer to your potential auditor. It's like video interviews, testimonials on your websites, Yelp services, Google review, and some other local internet resources will be able to help you to stay closer to your customers, to your clients, and people will start to trust you and will start to believe in you. So all of these points should lead you the maximum number of clients, and just try to play with some of the things. But as I've said, website and good content is obligatory thing if you want to be ranked on the Google. And especially testimonials, reviews is also obligatory thing. And of course, we shouldn't forget about good old offline marketing channels. And such channels works pretty normal, pretty efficient, like online methods. The first thing, for example, with the referral loyalty programs, and you can make your customers happy when you start to offer some of the discount programs. For example, when you bring us the first storage media, the second storage media will be sold with some of the discount. It's up to you. It depends on the level of your fantasy. Maybe like some families discount, some friends discount, some anyway. And the second method, for example, is related to the affiliate marketers. When you find some of the business-related companies who might bring good leads to you. For example, it might be computer repair shops. Some of the computer repair shops who doesn't make professional data recovery services, so they can resend such requests to you. maybe you at the same time you can request repairing things, repairing stuff, repairing issues to such computer repair shops. It's like partnership program, and it works pretty normal. And another thing, the offline advertising, when you make promotion, issuing some flyers, providing billboards, ads in local newspaper, or maybe you can brand your car. And such method works for such auditory, for such people who doesn't feel comfortable with the internet, and thus you are starting to stick closer to such auditory. And another story is when you are making personal branding. Personal branding implies that when you're getting more confident in data recovery area, you are starting to be more professional, and you can provide some speech on the IT conferences and the university conferences. Thus, you're creating your personal brand, your name, and of course, the name of your company. It's actually important, but it's not the first thing which should be done when you're making offline strategies, offline activities. So as I've said, you should play with all of these methods, all of these ways, and see what works for you, what leads to you. But guys, I will tell you that all of these promotional, sell things, commercial things, this is good, but please be a good data recovery engineer. When you start to be excellent in this area, people will start to trust you, will start to come to you. Rumors will be spread around your data recovery lab, and everyone will be happy. You, your clients. So I think this is it for today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you everyone for being with us today. I'm sure this is not the last time we're making such type of webinars. We will continue to provide some other webinars, not only about startups. And I also believe, and Roman believes, that you found something new for yourself from today's meeting. And don't hesitate to contact us according to the mail address which Irina sent to you. And we would be open, would be glad to help all of you, to consult, to make some personal advice to all of you guys. So welcome, and see you next time.
See you next time, guys. It was a pleasure to be with you. Bye.
All right, cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.